thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, February 29th, Saugus High School's Journalism Press Conference. I am Bailey Wright, and I am here to introduce Class of 2014 President Jonathan McTagg. Jonathan will begin with an opening statement, which will be followed by a series of questions asked by a journalist of the Sachem Times. Please welcome Jonathan.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Jonathan McTagg. I'm the Class of 2014 President, and I am here to answer questions about the Class of 2014 and the school. So we can start it, open it up for questions. You in the front.
Jenna Stamatopoulos, Class of 2015, Sachem Times. What are some of the responsibilities that come along with being the sophomore class president?
The responsibilities. Being the class president, there are a lot of responsibilities that comes with this job. You have to basically organize most of the things, but the reason being why we have a class board and we have other class officers is to assign different tasks to those individuals. And my responsibility is to basically give the class board different tasks to do along with myself. And I basically need to make sure that they do their responsibilities, they do their tasks, and everything gets done in a specific time frame, and make sure everything is as perfect as it can be for whatever event or fundraiser it is. Other responsibilities I have are to try to contact different locations for an event or a fundraiser that our class and or the school is hosting. Any other questions? You in the front.
Bailey Wright, Class of 2015, Sachem Times. How do you feel about your class advisors, Ms. Mahoney and Mr. Abisi?
My class advisors, last year we just had one for our freshman year. It was Ms. Mahoney. This year we added Mr. Abisi, and they both together are great advisors. If someone has a problem, if someone can't handle something, they're very easy to go and talk to, which is great as advisors. But we do have our different opinions, and we think about it together, and basically we come up with a compromise, but what is best for the class and not for ourselves. So that is how basically Ms. Mahoney and Mr. Abisi are in as the advisors. Questions? You in the back.
Michaela Perella, Class 2015, Sachem Times. What do you hope to accomplish as class president?
As class president, I hope to accomplish many things. There's really not one specific thing I hope to accomplish. Basically, I want to accomplish to have the class be as successful as it can be. And by doing that, there are a bunch of different things that we need to, put in order to get to that successfulness, and which are events, fundraisers, raising money, and making sure that the class is up to date with our different events, making sure that the class, all students are paying their class dues and doing what they need to do to make their class successful as well. Any questions? You in the front.
Bailey Wright, Class of 2015, Sachem Times. What do you find hardest about being president?
I find a lot of things hard. When I was president last year, because this is my second time being president, last year it was very difficult trying to figure out everything, to start to get in the groove of everything. But now being my second year, a lot of things have gotten easier, like my communication skills, I think have improved greatly since last year. And basically, I would say the hardest thing right now is probably sometimes the stress. A lot of people look and say, oh, you're just class president, it's not, a huge deal. And the facts are that it is a big deal, and as class president, like I was saying earlier, we need to make sure that our specific class and the other classes succeed, and that comes with a lot of stress and a lot of time that gets put into it. We have meetings every Thursday, and they run from a half an hour to 45 minutes to an hour, and people think we're done after that. But we work 7 days a week. It's kind of a job that you don't get paid for, basically, because you need to call different places, you need to manage your time, you need to do all these different things to make sure that, say, that one big event that your class is basically, needs to succeed, it all comes in time. It doesn't take that half an hour on that Thursday once a week. It takes more than that, which is exactly what the board, the other class officers, and myself are here to do. Any other questions?
Tia DeSalvo, class of 2015, Sachem Times. How did the other class officers help you with your difficulties?
That's a good question. My other class officers, really quickly, Vice President is Caroline Coleman, Secretary is Lindsay Caniff, and Treasurer is Gianna Zerpolo. And they are three great people to be in those officer seats, I guess you could say. They're three great people to work with. And they do help me with my difficulties, and the board does as well. They basically help me by asking me all the time, constantly, do you need help with this? Do you need help with that? What can I do to help you? And like I said in the previous question, that there is a lot of stress to do with this specific job, and these other class officers help me eliminate some of that stress, because they do take on big tasks that help me out in the long run greatly. So, any other questions? In the back.
Rebecca Farage, class of 2014, Sachem Times. What do you like about being class president, and what don't you like?
What I like, there's a lot of things that I like. Probably the number one thing I like is to be able to meet new people in this, because you do. When you are a class officer, not just myself, but any class officer, you meet a lot of new people in this, because again, you have to set up events, and that's when you meet new people and you get to know different people. And that's probably what I like most about it, is I like meeting new people, I like getting to know new people, and I like to help our class out, and I like to try to make everybody happy. Unfortunately, the thing I don't like about it is that you can't make everybody happy at once. Everybody has their different views, everybody has their opinions, and unfortunately what one person likes, someone else doesn't like. So what we do as a class, as class board, as class officers, we try to make sure that we can please or make as many people happy as possible. And again, that is difficult, and that does come with, when you run for this particular spot. Any other questions?
Jelena DeFranzo, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Why is it important to collect class dues?
Class dues are a major issue, and they are an issue for all 4 grades, not just the specific sophomore class. It's important to collect them because that is our base. That is what we fundraise off of. You hear everyone say, you need to have money in order to make money. You need to spend money in order to get money. And unfortunately, that's where our class dues come from. And it's important to get that because that's what we fundraise off of. Another thing is that when you pay your class dues, it goes towards the yearbooks. A yearbooks is, as you know, some people think it is a major issue. But when you sit down and you think about it, and when you do have all the information, when you do have all the facts, you actually sit back and you say, you know what, maybe this isn't such a bad idea after all. And unfortunately, there's miscommunication in a lot of that. But it is important to collect class dues because at the end of the year, when the yearbooks come in, they basically, they need the money to pay for the yearbooks, and they order a yearbook for every single student. And so that is why we need to collect class dues, and that is why it's important to collect class dues. So any other questions?
Hi, Tiffany Surratt, class of 2015, Sachem Times. How much money do you have for this year so far?
Money is a big issue because, you're never going to have it right down to the last penny. You're never going to know how much you have. As of right now, we do not have a specific total. We have fundraisers in the process right now. We have fundraisers coming up. So it is hard to try and, keep all that set to date. So as of today, we don't have an official total. We have estimates, we have all these things, but today is actually our last day for the calendar raffle. And as soon as, 2 o'clock comes today, that is when we will, basically count that money, we will get that money, and we will basically have a better idea of what our total is now. But as of right now, it's basically hard to tell. Any other questions?
Diana Gonzalez, class of 2015, Sachem Times. What do you plan to do with the money?
What we plan to do with the money is we have this year upcoming, which is April 13th, is our sophomore semi. And what we plan to do with the money is we put, money into that. We put money into next year when the junior ball comes, which is in December. That's what the money goes towards. And your senior week, your senior events, senior prom. The money basically that we fundraise for goes towards the class. It's to benefit the class. And so what we do with the money is for you guys. It's for the class events. It's for the fundraisers. And it's to make money, basically. And that's basically what the majority of that we do with it. Any other questions?
Jenna Stamatopoulos, class of 2015, Sachem Times. What made you want to run for class president?
At first, I was a little hesitant, and I was actually, honestly, I was never big into, the politics, but yeah, it's only class president. It's not, running for president. I mean, real president. Anyway, but what made me run was basically seeing all my, friends and people who I don't know that I wanted to get to know, and basically having to meet new people. And I'm sure everyone who knows me knows that I like to talk, I like to meet new people, and I, don't care what you think of me. So I like to do that. I like to meet new people, and that's why I ran. I ran also to make sure that this class, the class of 2014, succeeds. And that's a big thing that I work on, that the board works on, and all the other classes work on. So any other questions?
Diana Gonzalez, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Aside from being a class president, do you participate in any other school-related clubs?
I do. I participate in peer mediation, and that's really good because I like to help people, basically, is what I've been saying. And so peer mediation is a good way to do that. I also participate in different sports and, like you said, clubs. I do golf. And I used to do hockey. I did not participate in hockey this year because I did do the ski and snowboard club, which is a great program for any of you that are interested. Any questions? In the back?
Rebecca Farage, class of 2014, Sachem Times. Do you guys have any new plans to fundraise?
We do. We have, what we have done is we have decided as a board that we want to make sure that there's always a fundraiser going on. And a lot of people say, a lot of kids say, you're always coming to us for money. You're always doing this. You always want money. Why do you want money? And basically the whole reason why we keep doing fundraisers is because, I'm not going to lie, some of them are not successful. Some of them that we do, they don't work out. So when one doesn't work out, we need another one to follow it to make sure that we're going to meet our goal for the year. And that's what we try to basically do. We have come up with different fundraisers. In January, we had a restaurant night at Five Guys. For February, we're selling the March calendar raffles. And for March, we're going to basically be just drawing the March calendar raffles, picking the prizes and things like that, because it does get a little crazy when you have two things going on at once. And again, class dues, they're a full year thing. It's a full-time thing until you pay them. So we do have different plans to fundraise, new ways to fundraise, and they're always coming in. Everyone always has different ideas. So it's great to see everyone wanting to get involved and not just the board members. It's a class experience basically together to try and find new ways to fundraise. but we find them. Any other questions?
Tiffy Surratt, class of 2015, Sachem Times. How do you become a class officer or board member?
For a class officer or board member, when you are a freshman and you just come into the school, you guys have an election at the beginning of the year. After that, that's what decides. If you want to run, you need to go to your class advisor, whoever they are, and they would give you a sheet when it is time for the election. They will give you a sheet, and you need 20 signatures of classmates from your specific class that say, I want you to run for this specific officer or board member or something along those lines. And as soon as you get those 20 signatures, then you are able to run. And that goes for any class. So like I said, the freshmen, they run when you first come into the school in September and October. And then after that, the sophomores run at the end of freshman year. So when you are a freshman and you want to run again, or you just want to get into it and run, you run at the end of freshman year, and whoever wins is it for sophomore year. And the same goes for the upcoming years. Any other questions? In the back.
Michaela Perella, class 2015, Sachem Times. As class president, how do you feel about the way yearbooks are paid for? And do you think it is okay for money to be taken away from your class at the end of each year?
Okay, that question is actually a very difficult question, and that's a great question. But I want to reword what you said. We do not get money taken away from us. Okay, we don't, it doesn't get, ripped out of our account. The money that is there for the yearbooks is your class dues. So when you pay your class dues, however much they may be, freshman year it's $35, sophomore year it's $40, junior year it's $45, and senior year it's $50. So $35 every time you pay your class dues, $35 goes towards the yearbooks. And that is it. And then every year after that, your sophomore year, when you pay $40, $35 goes towards a yearbook, and that $5 now goes to your class. A lot of people do think, where's all that money going? Why is all that money going away? And I can honestly see from my perspective that you're not going to get, say, 175 kids in one specific class to pay their class dues on time every single year and have it be perfect. So they need to get the money from somewhere. They need to pay for the yearbooks some other way. So basically what happens is our account, no matter how much is in it, they take the given amount of how many kids are in here, in the class, and they charge each kid $35 for a yearbook, and that's what comes out of our account, whatever that total is for your specific class. What happens is, like I said, not everyone pays their class dues. So a lot of times, a lot of classes go into debt, or they hit the $0 mark, and then they have nothing to do, which is why it's very important to pay your class dues, because I know that hopefully the students want to see their class succeed as much as board members, class officers do. So I feel that right now, when you really look into the details and you really see how everything plays out, that in the long run, I do think that I feel okay about the way the yearbooks are paid. I do feel good about the way the yearbooks are paid because there's a specific system that you go by, and like I said, if everybody paid their class dues, then you wouldn't have to worry about going into debt. You wouldn't have to worry about only having like $100 left in your account and basically going nowhere. So that's why, if you haven't, pay your class dues, enforce it, make sure that they do. Because in the end, when you become a senior and you haven't paid any of your class dues, it's an obligation. You cannot graduate without paying your class dues. So why wait? And that's what I have to say about that, basically. Any other questions?
Jelena DeFranzo, class of 2015, Sachem Times. What are the plans for the semi, such as like the theme, date, budget, and venue?
Semi, it's approaching fast. We were talking about it like way back in October, and we're like, oh, we got plenty of time, and now it's a month away. Semi is April 13th, and what we are doing for the theme is it's going to be a Hollywood type of glamour type of theme, basically. The date, like I said, April 13th. The budget we have right now is about $3,000. A lot of people say, whoa, that's a lot of money, that's a lot of money. When you really come down to it, you need to pay for, there's multiple things you have to pay for. Where you have it, DJs, food, all this different stuff you need to account for, and that's why our budget is so large. And the venue this year is going to be at the Saugus Everett Elks, so it should be a good time. Any other questions?
T. DeSalvo, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Are you planning on running for class president next year?
That's a great question. If you asked me, I'll be honest with you, if you asked me, say, 3-4 months ago, back in October, November, I wouldn't have an answer for you. I would probably say probably not, I don't know. Because back in those months, things were, a little tough, and, we had to try and work through different things, and like I said, the stress level was out the roof. But now that I think about it, I kind of enjoy that stress. I kind of enjoy, having something to do, that helps, that benefits somebody else. So I can tell you that right now, when the next upcoming election in May or June comes, I will be running for class president again for junior and senior year. So if that's all the questions that you guys have, thank you guys for having me, and I really enjoyed this.
Thank you for joining us today. We would like to thank Jonathan McTagg for his participation in the press conference. Join us next time on Sachem Times Live.